welcome back to my channel, Side Hustle Seattle. So if you didn't already see, Notarize made a huge announcement a couple weeks ago saying that not only are they adding more states to the independent side of their platform, they're also making it completely free. So we're going to talk about that more, but I want to make sure that just in case you're new to Ron and new to Notarize, that you kind of understand the basics and what Notarize offers first before we dive more into it. So let's start with that. So if you didn't know, Notarize is the biggest Ron platform that's out there. At least from my perspective, it's the biggest Ron platform that's out there. It's probably the most recognizable one. I'm pretty sure they have the most clientele. I'm pretty sure they do the most transactions. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if all those things were factual. But the way that Notarize currently operates is there are three different sides to their business. So three different sides that you can interact with Notarize if you are a notary. So the first side of their business is they will provide you clients if you are in these 4 states. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put the states on the screen for you. So if you're in those 4 states, they will give you clients to do notarizations on. They're clients that they have sourced, and all you do is you log on and you take the clients kind of first come, first served. But again, only available in those 4 states. The second way is on their more or less enterprise side. So if you're a notary for a company, let's say you work for a company, a bank, a title company, escrow company, whatever, and they have in-house notaries, they can sign you up on the Notarize platform, so that way you can use the Notarize software to perform notarizations for that company that you already work for. So that's more of the enterprise side that's available in these states right here. And then the last side, and the side that we're going to be talking about, is the independent side of their business, which means that if you're an independent notary and you have your own clientele, you can bring them onto the Notarize platform and you can use the Notarize software to perform transactions. So that's the 3 ways that you can currently use the platform. And up until recently, the independent side of the platform was only available in 2 states, and that was Washington and Tennessee, but they have now added 13 more. So now that you know the basics, let's talk more about what they consider their Notary Sourced Transaction side of the platform, which again is just their independent side of the platform. They call it their Notary Sourced Transaction side. So again, what it is if you are an independent notary, you have a client, you can bring them onto the platform to perform that notarization. Now, prior to a couple weeks ago, anytime you did that, you paid a transaction fee, which is pretty typical for all platforms, right? Anytime your first seal costs you $8, your second seal costs you $3. So what that means is, let's say you had a client that you brought onto the platform and you were going to charge your client or your signer $25 for that notarization. Notarize would charge you as the notary $8 to use their platform. So you would charge your client $25, Notarize would charge you $8, you would get the difference. So you would get that $17. And then of course, if you put more stamps or seals on that document, you would pay an additional $3 for each of those. So those are what we call transaction fees, which again are pretty typical with any platform you're going to use. You're typically going to have some sort of transaction fee. But what they announced and what the major change is that not only are they adding those 13 more states, there are no more transaction fees, like 0 transaction fees. It's completely free. And by completely free, I mean literally completely free. So there's no monthly fee to use the platform. There's no sign-up fee to use the platform, and there is no transaction fee to use the platform. So if you were to bring your client on and you were to charge them $25, you as the notary would get the full $25. Now that's not gonna last forever. It said in the article, it's only gonna last through the end of the year as a promotional period, but still that's huge. They're the only platform, well really, one of the only platforms who has made their services completely free. There's gonna be another platform that I'll talk about in about a week or so that also has a free offering, but stay tuned for that. But this is one of the only major platforms who has done this. And really it's because they are so big, they have the ability to do this, right? But with that comes so much, like there's so much benefit to them being able to offer their platform for free, other than the fact that you're paying no out-of-pocket costs, which is the obvious. I think the biggest thing for me is it removes a lot of the barrier to entry that you get as a Ron, right? Like a lot of times when I'm talking to people and they're like, I'm like, have you considered Ron? They're like, oh, it's so expensive, it's so complicated, so this, so that. And it is in a lot of ways. Like, especially if you're in a state that doesn't allow you to charge a lot as a Ron. So like when I was in Washington, I could charge $25 per notarization for Ron. And so that's a decent amount. So no matter really what a platform charged for a transaction fee, I was still making an okay amount. But in Colorado, I can only charge $10 per notarization. So if I'm charging $10 and I go on Notarize and they're charging me $8 for that transaction, I'm only making $2, right? So it's like it wasn't always advantageous to do RON in a lot of these states. But without these fees, no matter how much you're allowed to charge per that remote online notarization, it's going to be worth it because you didn't have to pay anything out of pocket for that transaction. You didn't have to pay a monthly fee. You didn't have to pay a sign-up fee. So no matter what, you're pretty much always getting that money in whole, at least again, through this promotional period. So to me, I think that's huge that they've been able to eliminate a lot of that barrier that stopped people from getting into RON. Now, obviously we know that this is not gonna last forever. They'll have to eventually start charging people, but from what I've heard, the amount that they're gonna charge per transaction once the promotional period is up is still not going to be that much. Like, I would be surprised if it goes back to being $8. I actually think it's going to be a little bit less. And to be clear, $8 was still one of the cheapest transaction fees that you could find across all platforms, but I think it's going to be less than that, which hopefully will still make it beneficial in states where you can't charge that much. So that I'm super excited about. Also, in the states that they've opened it up to, some of those states didn't have a lot of options, right? Like especially New York. New York, I think just recently allowed for RON full-time. I'm pretty sure New York just recently passed it. But anyways, I've gotten a lot of people who've like, hey, do you know platforms to New York? Do you know, as somebody in New York, what platforms I can use? I'm like, I have a couple, but I didn't have a lot. So for one of the major platforms to now be available to you, to me is a huge thing. And not only did they, of course, add more states and make it free, they also added more features. So one, they have like an in-meeting kind of like agenda type of feature. So essentially it'll have like a list of things that you have to do within the transaction that you can click off and say that you've done. So like in Colorado, there's a whole script of things that you have to say during a transaction to make it compliant. And so for me, I have like a piece of paper that has all of the different things that I have to read off to make sure that I don't miss anything. But now I can actually just put it within Notarize on the screen to make sure, again, I'm not missing anything that then make that notarization compliant, which is really important, right? It's always really important to abide by the laws of your state when it comes to doing a notarization. Also, they added a chat feature. So like within the notarization session, within the transaction, there's a chat feature that you can chat your signer back and forth. And you can use that for a number of reasons. Maybe they have, maybe they're hard of hearing. Maybe there's other things that are preventing them from being able to speak in that moment. You can go ahead and chat them. Or maybe there's like glitches. I've had that happen before where somebody's like, they can't get their mic to work or their computer's doing something. It just makes it really hard to hear them. It's like lagging. So in this case, you can just chat them and try to figure it out through there, which I think is a huge win. And then they've, of course, like improved their onboarding and their training and whatnot, which is also important when it comes to using a platform. You want to have very thorough training because you want to feel comfortable using that platform for when you have a signer. So for me, this announcement is like, it's huge, right? Like, I think a platform of this scale doing something for free is beneficial to everybody. And I think it's going to expose a lot of people to RON who may be held out for now because of the cost and other things that went into it. So that was really all I wanted to make sure you knew that there was this announcement, knew that it was free, and hopefully it is available in your state so you can check it out. I do know that more states are to come, at least from what I remember. They are going to continue to launch different states throughout the summer. So if your state is not there currently, it will be there, hopefully, in the future. So just keep an eye on their platform. I'm pretty sure you can like sign up for their wait list and you'll get notified when stuff opens up in your state. But hopefully it comes to your platform or to your state soon. If it is available in your state, what do you think? Like, do you think this is great? Do you think there's some other agenda going on? Like, how do you feel about it? If you're not currently doing RON, is it being available in your state going to make you do RON? I'm curious on all of your thoughts and comments of this new rollout by Notarize. But anyways, as always, thank you for watching my video and I will catch you in the next one.